You're listening to the Pittsburgh Piledriver.
What the hell is that?
Podcast.
They were once men, great kings of men. Then McMahon the Deceiver gave to them 4 rings of buffoonery. They took them without question, one by one, falling into foolishness. They are the P3, the Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast, and they are a slave to his will, as is the rest of the wrestling universe. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you these 4 fools that you will be listening to for the next hour. There is the maddest, the angriest, the ragiest, and the heeliest of them all, Ransom the Madman. There is the encyclopedia, the knowledge gate, the keeper of all things wrestling, Beef the Legend. There is the one they call Casual Gaming Dad, for he games. He is a dad, and he is casually clad. Tiger Bomb Tom. Finally, the last, the one that is the wordsmith, the one who brings the spoken word to life. They call him Lips. He is Poot the Bard. We're going to do wrestling speaking trees to you this evening, and it will be glorious. And if by the end of this episode you are not entertained, it is up to you, our dear listeners, to take from us our 4 rings of buffoonery and cast them into the fires of the WWE Universe, cleansing the world of this foolishness once and for all. Boys, how are you?
That was straight up better than Lord of the Rings. I just want to note it. Like that was better than Lord of the Rings trilogy.
And it wasn't like 14 hours of walking.
I beg to differ.
And walking and walking.
My dudes.
I can empathize with that movie because I feel like I have traversed the trails of Middle-earth in my time. Walking and walking and walking. These are inside jokes, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, listen. I caught word here today on the internets that one of our favorite yet underutilized talents is no longer with the empire of the Fed.
Now that narrows
man
the
is
list down to
Cesaro.
I was going to say that narrows the list down to how many?
That narrows the list down to Cesaro. Word is Cesaro is no longer in the Fed.
No,
that is true.
Yeah,
that is true. But first, I have a bone to pick with one Vapor Dave. See, here's the thing, champ. I hope you felt
Vapor
those
Dave.
air quotes, champ, because here's the truth. The Cruiserweight Championship is contingent upon the champion being active on social media and bragging about said championship. The champion, and again, I hope you feel the air quotes, Dave. I hope you feel them.
Feel it.
Champ, you have said nothing at all, except for a couple grumbles in our Breaking Kayfabe episode. Well, champ, you better step your game up, or else you're going to be stripped. All right, let's talk about Cesaro.
Oh my God, are you going to be okay? I think you were going to have a stroke.
I think I'm going to have to go check on Beef. I'm going to leave the podcast recording. Get in my car and drive over to the Beefatorium and make sure that his heart palpitations are in sync.
The heart palpitations.
My wife just walked away from me, so it's fine. I'm sure if I was actually in trouble, she would check on me or just walk away like she did, whatever.
Warm up the paddles, boys.
Clear.
He's going into fibrillation.
No, I wanted to preface this really quick for the episode stuff because I want to talk about Cesaro. We got a ton of shit to talk about, but I just want to let everybody know this is the first recording of the recording that I do on my end here from the new Pudatorium, the Cave of Soliput, if you will. And I don't have my headphones in, so if you hear any feedback or echo-ness, that'll be fixed next episode. So I just want to let you guys know I don't have headphones on, so I'm just hearing these idiots through my studio monitors.
We'll fix them post.
Tag bragging. Let's talk Cesaro.
So what do you like? I think this is wonderful. I think this is incredible, and I think this is something that could be absolutely phenomenal. And everyone immediately is just going to probably go, oh, he's going to go to AEW. It would make a lot of sense. But the problem is, and Tony Khan apparently has said we're going to ease off on signing. This past week, they've signed 3 new people. So you could take that with a grain of salt. But the thing is, I could see Cesaro doing really, really, really well in Impact. I could see him doing really well in that new create your own narrative thing.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
Yeah, and or
he can do well anywhere. Let's not split hairs.
Well, no, and I know I say this a lot, but I really think that he would do well over in Japan.
Yeah,
New Japan ain't what it was 2 years ago. Take that for what you will. Losing Ibushi hurt. But I mean, same shit, different day. It's fucking Okada and Naito for the title. Again, it's like fucking Groundhog's Day. I love New Japan. I really do. But you know what? Get your fucking shit together, all right? Because I'm sick of watching the Japanese John Cena and Randy Orton battle it out.
Woof.
Anyway, it is, and I have a lot of problems with Okada. I like Naito. I'm sick of seeing the two of them fighting for the fucking title. Cesaro, it's important to point out that his contract expired. This is not a release. He did not quit. The contract expired, meaning he could show up on Revolution tomorrow, even though it was taped yesterday, so he won't. But he could show up, or not Revolution tomorrow, at Rampage tomorrow. He could show up at Revolution on next Sunday. He could show up on AEW next Wednesday. He could literally walk into to Impact today if he wanted to. So yeah, he has no chains binding him to the great white north of Stamford. He can go wherever the hell he wants, whenever the hell he wants.
I mean, my first thought was the control your narrative. I figured that might be somewhere where he would end up because like we said, that Tony Khan said he was easing off on hires. Who were the 3 new hires this week? What is it at the artist formerly known as Buddy Murphy and
Buddy Matthews.
Yeah, Buddy Matthews. Which makes him sound like a character on Boy Meets World, but go on.
Allegedly, Swerve, which that has not, nothing has been official about that.
I've seen a lot of very positive confirms on that, though.
Okay.
Well, they're all soft confirms because he hasn't, they how they do. They put their little so-and-so is all elite, which is fine. I have no problem with that.
That would be a big get, though. That would be a big get.
Well, yeah. I mean, Buddy Murphy, Matthews, whatever you want to call him, is literally was called the best kept secret in WWE for a fucking reason.
What the thing is, he looks even more fucking monstrous than he did before.
And you want to talk about bolstering your mid card? Like that's exactly what they're doing with him and Swerve. Yeah, who was the third, Putin?
The third was Jeff Hardy.
Nah, fake news. He's not signed.
Are you sure?
He's not signed. Yeah, because again, he can't be because he has a 60 or a 90-day non-compete clause. So no matter how much he wants to be all elite,
it was up.
No.
Yes.
He walked away. He walked away in January, I think.
No.
Yeah.
No. It was back in either late November or early December.
No way.
Yeah.
Somebody look it up because it seems closer than that.
Somebody fact check me. But bottom line is he walked it back immediately. He's like, well, I haven't signed yet, nothing official, but it's something for me to work toward. Meaning that it's going to happen, unfortunately. But he jumped the gun without saying it.
Yeah, he's going to AEW because AEW is no matter how much we like to, pardon me, no matter how much we like to praise AEW for doing things differently than WWE, they're gonna want a piece of that Hardy Boys pie.
Oh yeah.
So they're
here's
definitely. I'm not finished. Jeff Hardy's going to show up in AEW, and it's a foregone conclusion that there are going to be taggings with Brother Matt.
Brother.
There has to be.
so here, like initially, and I'm still very anti Jeff Hardy, anti it happening because Jeff Hardy is far less talented than his brother Matt. Whatever he wants you to believe, he's far less creative, at least in a wrestling sense, than his brother Matt. And he's far more toxic than his brother Matt.
Oh yeah.
There's no place in AEW for Jeff Hardy, but I will say this. I had similar reservations about Christian. I was like, I don't know why they're paying this dude. I don't want him coming in and fucking up the main event. They don't need WWE cast-offs. They need their own brand to be solid on its own. And I don't consider NXT guys WWE cast-off. I consider those guys who, saw the light, as it were. But in terms of Hardy, Christian rather, he's been. I mean, outside of the one main event at All Out, which by the way I found out was a 100% an audible. Like that was Hangman's spot, but because his wife was going to be giving birth to their first child, they let him have some leniency with that. With Christian basically stepped in. He's like, all right, I'm a vet. I can do this. Let's go. Outside of that, he's been like hanging around with Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, like kind of giving like the I'm a cool veteran. Like let me help you guys out kind of rub, and I'm fine with that. Same as Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy has stepped out of basically being an active competitor, except for special occasions, and he's a manager to like the Hardy family. Again, a great role for him, a great spot, and when he's needed in the ring, sure, a great spot. I don't want Jeff Hardy to be a week-by-week competitor. I don't want the Hardy Boys as a tag team because as much as I love AEW, they are brimming full of the best tag teams in the world. And that sounds like a good thing, but whenever you have tag teams that aren't on your show because they're one of the best, but you got no place for them, that's a problem.
Right, and it's again one of those things you don't want to oversaturate it. I think they need to, I mean, AEW has the best tag team division hands down of any of the companies that I can think of right now. Honestly, they need to worry about their main event picture because not too long ago we were sitting here wondering, well, who's a viable heel or face for Hangman to face, because there's not a whole lot of like true blue discernible heels that are at the top of the card besides like Kenny, Cole, and MJF. You know what I mean? Like
you have a shit ton of tweeners.
Yeah. That's the thing. There's a lot of tweeners and there's a lot of tag teams. So I
get the feeling that 2022, 2023 is going to be the year of MJF.
Oh yeah.
I think he is absolutely going to take this Punk feud.
Yeah.
And he's going to use it as a rocket ship on his back. And he's going to be the man to beat.
Did you see the promo he cut this week?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Oh my God.
I think that is absolutely indicative of what he can do. And I can't wait for the other shoe to drop with it though. Like that's the other thing. Like I can't wait for him to like come out after the Punk match and be like, I worked every single one of you marks, you dumb bastards.
Let's
buy my merch. Call me awful, but I worked every single one of you.
I would love that. Let's dial it back. We got away from Cesaro.
We did. We got a little excited. But.
Yeah, let's bring it back because like as much as we said that was it Buddy Matthews or Buddy Murphy was the best kept secret in WWE. Cesaro was the worst kept secret in WWE because I defy you to think of a match that was a stinker that involved Cesaro one-on-one with someone else.
Yeah,
you're 100% right. Cesaro was the worst kept. What did you call? How did you phrase it?
Worst kept secret.
The worst kept secret because he was so fucking
everybody
good,
watching,
and they just never did shit with him.
That's exactly it. Everybody who watched Cesaro knew how good he was, knew how strong he was. This dude, this is a guy who took a bump on the turnbuckle pole and got his 2 front teeth jammed up inside his skull, and he kept wrestling the rest of that match.
Yep.
Not only that, but he didn't take any time off either. They pulled those 2 teeth down, fixed his mouth up, gave him a mouth guard, and he was right back to work.
Yep.
Like, this dude is one of the most solid workers that has ever stepped foot in that ring. He's clean, he's strong, he's safe. Like, he really does look like he has an art form. Like, he's not just in there wrestling, like he's in there making art. And this dude, I wholeheartedly believe he can go anywhere outside the WWE and be recognized for the amount of talent that he has, and he can do well. Hell, this is a guy that can do well bouncing between all sorts of different promotions. I mean, he can essentially do what Cody did and just go out and work here, get paid, work here, get paid, so on and so forth until he decides, well, all right, I'm going to settle down at XYZ Wrestling Company.
Yeah. Now, I mean,
This dude is he's a champ, and he's, without being stifled by the WWE, you could pretty much just put that rocket on his back and just let him go, because he'll take it. He'll take the ball and run with it.
I can't think. So here's the only other wrestler, WWE wrestler, that I can compare him with in terms of the fucking like sine cosine curve, like the high highs and the low lows, was Randy Savage. Now, obviously, Cesaro never reached the peaks that Randy Savage had, but think about it, man. Like,
Yeah.
I'm knee deep in my WrestleMania rewatches, and like, if you watch Randy Savage's WrestleMania matches, they're all over the place, and they're great matches. That's never been in dispute. But like, sometimes he's at the absolute top of the card, sometimes he's at the bottom of the card, jobbing to somebody. Like, there was no in between. It was all ups and downs, man. Same with Cesaro. Like, he'd re-sign. Like, first of all, there was the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
Yeah.
The first one or the second one? I think he won the first one.
He won the first ever.
He was the first one.
We're like, okay, here we go. This is it. Nothing. And then, like, he was gone for a while, and then there was the bar. Like, set, literally, the bar for tag team.
I love the bar. In retrospect, I love them.
And then nothing. And then he re-signed this agreement. He beat Seth freaking Rollins, 2 years ago, the WrestleMania that we watched at your house, Tom, right? Or last year. I don't even remember anymore. He beat Seth Rollins at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
It was last year.
Yeah, it was just this last year.
Yep.
Yeah, because it was the
Seth Rollins is one of your like staples. He you know how AEW has their pillars. I consider Seth Rollins a pillar for WWE right now.
Oh, absolutely.
You have Cesaro beat him at WrestleMania, and then he just disappears. That is a fucking sign coast and current if I have ever seen it, man. Like, to be at the fucking height and then disappear for months at a time is beyond me.
Absolutely agreed. And the only piece of constructive criticism, the only nitpick thing that I would have against Cesaro, but still not a reason still not a reason why they shouldn't have at least given him a chance. But like, his mic skills weren't the greatest. He had some. You know what? I'm going to make this comparison on the mic. Cesaro was kind of along the lines of like how Roman Reigns was at one point.
How would you know? Here's
hold on.
Let him finish.
But when that's the thing, he was never really given much of an opportunity, at least from what we saw, to actually try to improve. Now look what happened whenever like Roman, at one point John Cena said to him, like, it's called a promo, Roman, you're gonna have to learn how to do one. And then a couple of years, how many years later, now he's doing the best heel work that we've ever seen him doing. I don't understand why they couldn't have taken some sort of similar approach, not necessarily the whole face to heel thing, but just as far as like whatever they did with Roman, they could have done with Cesaro as far as like getting him the mic skills and getting him the chops,
Yeah, I mean,
Cesaro, Cesaro has mic skills, man. It's just that WWE absolutely leashes people to their style and says, here's what you're going to do. And you say, no, I can do this. I'm the next Rock. You'll never fucking know, because they'll look at you and go, you don't have the chops, kid. Go out there, say what we tell you to say, and just eat your pin.
And
Right.
Okay, the handcuffing, as far as it comes to being on the stick is one thing. Okay.
Right.
But like the thing that he could have done, even if they did take the same approach as they did with Roman with Cesaro, for example, if they would have sent someone like Cena out there or someone of that ilk to go out there and just like throw him under the bus in front of a crowd and see what he did. You know what Cesaro could have done? He could have beat the snot out of them. Absolutely beat the snot out of them, from like both beating them down and also stretching them and being a technical wizard. And then the next week come out and they just say, hey, go out there, say what you're going to say. Don't swear none because sponsors, and we'll see what you can do. And he would have gone out there and knocked it out of the park, and they could have strapped a rocket to his back. But again, I guess to Beef's point, they won't do that.
Right. And that's
It's
again,
not even like they. No, my turn. It's not even like they would have needed to do that with Cesaro, because it was clear that, okay, Roman Reigns delivered some stinkers with the promos, and John Cena goes out and gives him the old, verbal, haha, get better, kid. And then later on he does. I don't necessarily think that that's even what Cesaro needed, because how would we have known that he was bad at doing promos? They never gave him the chance to go out there and really try to deliver a good promo. They always paired him with somebody. Hell, wasn't at one point he was paired with Tyson Kidd?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Somebody was always the mouthpiece for the team that he was on. Even when he was by himself, they set him out there with Dutch Mantel. They set him up
Maybe
there
it was
with
his accent.
Paul Heyman.
Yeah,
But here's the other killer part. Hold on. Here's the other killer part, is that they give people who aren't foreign ridiculous gimmicks and ridiculous accents. Vladimir Kozlov, stupid Santino Marella. Hey, go on out there and use this, over-exaggerated fake accent that's not really yours. And haha, there's a big, but oh no, Cesaro has a natural accent. He's not a states-born fellow. So, of course, there's no way in hell he'd be able to go out and deliver an actual promo, because we didn't give him this, this fake foreign accent gimmick to go out there and play with. He has a legit foreign accent because he's not an American. So he clearly can't go out and be trusted to deliver a promo. We had to put him with somebody else and not even give him a shot at it.
Well,
that's the real travesty there.
the guy speaks 5 languages. How the fuck did they not give him something to work with?
Because it's the WWE, and if you don't speak English, it don't matter.
Let's not forget that wrestling, like NASCAR, is a good old boys club. Started and founded by white men who are like, we don't need to hit 0 for English. I live in America, damn it. Bring me my beer, Sheila. Like,
Sheila.
this is
Easy.
something.
Big tank lady.
Big tank lady, bring me a beer.
This is, and like Michael P.S. Hayes is like one of these people that are like good old boy mentality, where like if you're foreign, you're a bad guy. Like, we don't care if you're the nicest guy in the world. If you're foreign, you're a bad guy. So, I think Vince looks at that and goes, you know what? That's probably where that mentality comes from. Like, oh, you have an accent, so the American audience, who has been trained by wrestling, unfortunately, to think, oh, you're foreign, you're a bad guy, unless you're a fucking Looney Tunes character, like Santino Marella. But like, yeah, if you have the foreign accent, you're clearly a bad guy. So I think that may have been part of it. But like I said, the other part of it is like, man, like, we'll never know who can do anything on the stick in WWE, because outside of Roman, which they've given some levity to, like, and NXT, which again doesn't exist anymore, sadly, RIP. Like, we'll never know who actually has chops and who doesn't, because they won't let them speak.
No, it's all pre-written. It's all pre-written bullcrap. And the days of you're foreign, you're a bad guy are clearly just stuck in the mind of the old people in WWE. That's not what the fans think anymore. The fans loved Cesaro.
Yep.
They loved Cesaro. He got some of the biggest pops ever for not even going out and speaking on the mic, for just going out and being fun in the ring and being entertaining in the ring. Like when he was with Sheamus and they were the bar, the signs for the bar were everywhere. The hand signs with the sideways thumb everywhere. People loved it. And another prime example of that is Rusev. They tried to do the same thing with him. And we're gonna build him Bulgarian. He's foreign, bad guy.
He ran with it.
What got him over the most?
He ran with it.
What got Rusev over the most was being a face, being fun, and doing Rusev Day. That got over so easily with the fans. People were so behind Rusev Day. So the old mentality of foreign equals bad guy is strictly in the minds of Bruce Pritchard, Vince McMahon, Michael Hayes. That's where it is. The fans will embrace you no matter where you come from, because the fans have moved away from the old Hulk Hogan, USA, foreign guy, bad guy mentality.
But I think that, those three names you just gave us, Michael Hayes, Bruce Pritchard, and Vince McMahon, like, that's clearly who runs the shit. Vince cutting off NXT's head and saying, we're sending Paul home so that he doesn't hurt himself worse, is his way of taking power and saying, no, this is all my house. Whether you like it or not, you dirty WWE fans, I own everything. So if you like NXT, that means you like me. No, Vince, we don't.
That just harkens back to the point to where, we've talked about it several times, and I know this isn't a Cesaro take, but it bears touching upon, is that if it's not a Vince McMahon creation, it's not going to be pushed to the moon in WWE. NXT lasted under Triple H, as successful as it was, a lot longer than it probably should have, because Vince McMahon wasn't in charge of it, and it was wildly successful, and it was garnering a lot more eyes than I think Vince ever thought would be on that product. So once again, Vince has to step in and go, well, this is a success. I didn't do it. Can't have that. So we're going to clean house. We're going to redo it all, and it's going to be a VKM production. Let's go.
Yep, but I mean, as far as Cesaro, and kind of put a pin in this, like, I think, I don't know, like, if gun to my head, where did he show up? I don't know. I'd like to think that, like, TK is like, oh yeah, we have 2 slots left in the Face of the Revolution ladder match. Come on over, Claudio. You're more than welcome. But honestly, I think that he should bide his time and wait it out and see, who's going to be the highest bidder and who's going to give him the most whatever. I think that him being in control of your narrative is interesting at the very least, although we don't know what their deal is yet. But I am intrigued. MLW would be another great landing spot for him, I think. That's a show I need to start watching too. But yeah, but bottom line is I think he's going to be, like we've said, he's going to be successful regardless of where he goes, because he is one of the best wrestlers on the planet right now.
Yep.
Now, oh yeah, that's a definite.
Did you guys see the headline about Pat McAfee talking about?
I could feel you try to not mess that up.
I sure did.
Good job.
Did you see the headline about him talking about Cody?
No, I did not. I was gonna,
pretty workish, pretty like work shootish. Let me see if I can pull it up here.
It's work shootish, and also it's kind of just like, okay.
The only
what do you mean by work shootish?
Let me get me the quote here.
While you're getting the quote, I will say there is one thing with Pat McAfee I am interested in watching. It's an interview with him and old Bork Laser.
It's real fucking good. It gives you a lot of insight into Brock Lesnar as a person, and it makes you go like it's that kind of thing of like misconstruing because people talk about Brock Lesnar being like kind of an asshole and everything.
Yeah.
It's like someone who's as big, brutish, successful, and accredited as he is to go, yeah, I have a lot of social anxiety and like, I'm really kind of insecure is really like inspiring.
Yeah, I really want to sit down and watch that. Hopefully I'll get to do that tomorrow. So.
And I want to preface this by saying I love Pat. I love having Pat on SmackDown commentary. I think that he is absolutely the best announcer of the year. I love having two Pittsburgh guys on commentary in WWE. Although Pat is definitely more of a Yinzer, so I'm here for it. So I have the feeling that this is coming straight from the fucking top. So here's the quote. He said, "I guess Cody Rhodes is coming to WWE. I guess. Who cares? Him and his little friends started something. It was terrible. We actually went head to head with them on Wednesdays. We beat him a couple of different times. Who cares? The hell is Cody. The hell with Cody Rhodes."
Huh.
Oh, it's that all but solidifies it at this point. Because if they weren't planning on bringing him in, there's no way that they would have given Pat McAfee carte blanche to say something like that.
Yeah.
No chance in hell.
Well, so this was on the Pat McAfee show. He does have his own like podcast. So I mean, he lives two lives, obviously. Like he has his WWE life, but I mean, yes, I mean, you obviously like if you work two jobs, you obviously wouldn't go and like talk shit about something your other employer may or may not be doing at said second job.
No, that's the thing. Like, yes, that was his show, and he can say what he wants on his show, but like you said, his other employer is WWE, so he's not going to go and blab. If Cody Rhodes really was signing with WWE and they wanted to keep it hush hush, he's not going to go blabbing about it on his show because then he's going to come back to WWE and catch a firestorm for blowing that big spot.
Right.
It's 100% a work between his show, the Pat McAfee's show, and WWE. Like, it's one big promo.
Right.
And weren't there other references? I thought I saw two on various sites that different people in the ring, they might not have name dropped Cody Rhodes, but they made some sort of reference here or there that Cody might be coming.
I mean, at this point, I think it's the worst kept secret. But here's the thing, man. And like we always clamor for WWE to make new stars, and that like WrestleMania is the time to do so. And this, that, and the other thing. But isn't bringing Cody in for a WrestleMania match kind of like belittling that point? Like, isn't that like almost counterintuitive? Because I love, I love Cody. I didn't love what Cody tried to do in booking in AEW, but I love his work rate. I love that he's the son of the American dream. Like, he has a lot of passion and fire, charisma, and he puts on great matches, gives great promos. But man, like, I don't know that I want him showing up at WrestleMania or having a match with somebody with WrestleMania. He's a guy that I think that they should save for the night after WrestleMania, if I'm being honest.
You can see your point in that,
yeah.
But at the same time, this really feels like a Vince ha-ha. I think if it was anybody else, like, or if Cody didn't, help start AEW, if he just faffed around for years on the independents, showing up here, there, the other thing, they probably would save him to bring back on the Raw after WrestleMania. But since he's one of the founding fathers of AEW, and this is going to be WWE's first big get from them, not just, a big name from AEW, but one of the founding fathers of that company, that's the reason that they're going to bring him out for WrestleMania, so it can be all about the welcome home, welcome back to where you belong. Cody Rhodes' glorious return to WWE after going over here and trying with this floundering company. Like, no, he finally came back to the big show, to the show of shows. That's what it's going to be. It's all about the spectacle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. At this point, I just if it's gonna happen, hopefully it doesn't. I don't know.
I think that the one of two things. I think I agree with Beef that they're going to kind of put it. I think it would be good for the Raw after Mania, because the Raw after Mania is always chaos. It's always chaos.
And last shit,
glorious chaos.
Shit, it was awful last year.
The last couple years haven't been that big of a wow factor.
Well, and that's the thing. That's why kind of bringing it back around.
2020 was a pandemic. Last year just fucking shit its own pants. Like, they did nothing last year.
Well, even the year before, even before in 2019, what happened then? I don't remember. I don't remember. Do you?
What were you saying? What were you saying?
I was just saying that could be the return to the wow factor, because even WWE has acknowledged that the Raw after Mania is always something special or extra spectacle-y and everything like that. And having Cody appear could bring that back to form to fix the past couple years, the pandemic and everything aside. But, I think that maybe having Cody debut at the end of Mania could also put an exclamation point on it.
Oh.
You are silly.
Well, it's like the Ronda Rousey effect.
I just think you're silly if you think that Cody Rhodes is gonna close Mania.
Just saying. They want to put their acquisition on. They want to put their acquisition on the biggest stage with the most eyes, and they want to go, look what we took, look what we did. He came back, the throne breaker indeed.
I don't see a world, because, again, this is Vince McMahon, who, like, if you got over under your own power, you are punished. We will not only ignore you, but we will actively work to
undermine
and fucking torpedo your pushes. We will actively make you look like a laughingstock, Zack Ryder. Ric Flair, if you have value outside this company, we don't value at all. I think at best, Cody Rhodes gets a shot on Monday night to be like maybe a main event guy against maybe a guy like AJ Styles or Edge, and like it goes downhill from there. And then when we get to SummerSlam, we're talking about him either in a pre-show or maybe a mid-card title match this year.
Wow, so you believe that Cody's going to come back, and instead of them giving him a big push and a big, hoorah, because he's coming from AEW, you think they're immediately going to start off with signing him, bringing him back, tanking him?
No.
I think it has nothing to do with him being in AEW. I think it has to do with Vince McMahon not seeing his value, and Vince McMahon not realizing that people exist outside of his fucking bubble.
The optics of
why
that,
bring it back at all?
The optics of that would be disgusting. Like, Vince is an idiot, and he has a lot of idiots around him.
So is the optics of bringing a guy like Keith Lee up from NXT when he's on the hottest tear in his life.
In their purview, Keith Lee is not the same as Cody Rhodes. He doesn't have the lineage that Cody Rhodes does. Nothing against Keith Lee. His work rate, his history in the business is great, but he doesn't have that tie back to history that they just fucking love so much in WWE. That
you know who does? Ted DiBiase Jr. Let's pull him off his fucking used car lot and give him a main event spot.
Look at Curtis Axel. Look at that. I mean, it's the same, but those are like that kind of thing. It's not the same as the Rhodes family.
They tanked
it's
him.
Just not.
To ask Ransom's point, why do it if you're just going to do that, so that Vince McMahon,
I'm so angry. I gotta pee.
So that Vince McMahon can tout, look what I did. I went out and bought one of your founders, and now look what he's doing.
And
He is jobbing on SummerSlam, and
I can do with him
again.
I can do with him what I want. I can
Yep.
I can do anything. I can destroy him. You are still nothing. So I get that, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of it seems.
Is Cody dumb enough?
I hope not.
Do that?
You know what? Like, here's the thing. I get it. This, I don't think, is a passion move for Cody. I think it's probably 70% money, 30% pride. Like, he was frustrated about the book in AEW because when he signed on, when they all had this big vision, it was one thing. And Tony Khan's like, yeah, man, that sounds great. And then Tony Khan gets in Gorilla, and he's like, you know what? I really like this. I'm going to start being more involved, and slowly takes more power and booking, which, again, is fine, because I don't think active wrestlers should be booking shows anyway. That's a fucking no-no.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, so I think there's that. I really do. But, I mean, he just had a kid. And you know, and I understand that he has the Go Big Show and that he has Roads to the Top, which who knows where those two are going to lie with him
Roads to the top,
you know,
dumbest name
going
ever.
to the future.
Nowhere.
But bottom line is,
Once he goes to WWE.
right. Well, they have episodes filmed that I don't know what they're going to do with. But bottom line is that he needs major financial security. And I think that with Vince McMahon saying, look at all this money we have, and Tony Khan's like, well, yeah, we can pay you too, but you're going out there and getting booed every week when we're paying you to go out there and get cheered. So, bye-bye, ta-ta. And I'm sure the gates open so that whenever Cody Rhodes inevitably gets squashed, gets pushed to the bottom of the card, in 2 or 3 years, he can come back to AEW and light it on fire. You know, being the fucking returning vet. I'm sure that that'll be a thing that happens.
Now, do you think that he would sign that long of a deal?
Mm-hmm. I think money. Again, I get it, like 100%. Like, I've reached a point in my adult life where I would absolutely sell out most of anything that I would do for a lot of cash, especially if it's a short term, like 2-3 years. Like, you want me to like sit there and like, you know, piss on, you know, I don't know, you know, just take your fucking pick. But like, you want me to like compromise something that I have moral value in to make a cheap buck? Yeah, sure. Well, why the fuck not? Like,
will you
get me rich now.
Hold on. Will you go back to customer service?
Oh,
that's what I'm doing right now. I'm fucking looking for customer service jobs because you know why? Money. Because it's paying a lot better than it was then.
Banking.
Here's the question. Yes. Like, here's where I take issue and have a hard time swallowing that pill. It's on multiple levels. The one level being, okay, so maybe he's not making Brock Lesnar money in AEW. But you're telling me that with you and your wife on the AEW payroll, you're struggling financially?
No.
No. If that's the case, you're living your life the wrong way.
Well, because this is a 1%er argument. This is a 1%er argument. Like, this
doesn't matter. I guarantee you, he's making more money than we'll ever see.
100%. Yep.
In AEW. So shut up, Cody. You don't need more money for your kid when you're working for Tony Khan in AEW. Absolutely not. And 2, this dude made such a big point when AEW showed up on scene with the sledgehammer and the throne with the skull and the crowns and the smashy and the bashy. It was such a big deal for him to be able to say, I left. Look what I did. I don't need you. And now you're going back. After making this isn't a dude that was like a Keith Lee that left quietly, show up in AEW and did his thing. Do some wrestling. I'm going to be me. I'm going to show you what I can do. He made such a big point about him being free from the WWE. Listen to his stupid theme song. Wrestling has more than one royal family. Holy shit, this dude went over the edge when it comes to breaking away from WWE and making a point. Now you're going back there? You thought you were frustrated with the AEW bookings?
Yeah.
Is it going to be? Are you honestly thinking Cody Rhodes, you living, breathing person with a brain, that the booking in WWE is going to be better? You're high.
I don't think he's worried about that. And also, and this is absolute fantasy booking nonsense. So don't take this as Poots going off the rails and being all pie-eyed and stuff. What's the over-under? What's the over-under on, because Cody was an EVP over there, Tony Khan being the way he is, having the guys in AEW be as smart as they are, somehow, some way, threading the fucking needle to make this, Cody comes back, he's a WWE guy again, and then he very quickly AEW, and then you have an AEW cross-promotion battle, and they just make it as real as they possibly can. Like, he's in contract violation doing this. He appears on AEW as well, but he's rogue because he's now signed with WWE. Like, I know there's no over-under on it. It's not going to happen, but do you think that it's even within the universe of possibility?
I mean, Tony and Vince have talked. I can't say that those two people have talked. I think that AEW and WWE have talked multiple times about multiple things. But at the end of the day, my argument is and will always will be, what does WWE have to gain? They are beating AEW in ratings like every single week with Raw, every single week with SmackDown. Honestly,
is the margin still close, though?
Yeah, it was close when Raw was on Sci-Fi. So if Raw's not on its normal channel, maybe AEW can beat them on a good week. But yes, AEW would stand to gain a fucking captain's chest, but WWE, nothing except for maybe some goodwill with the Smarks, who have proven themselves to be in the margins of wrestling fans anyway. So, because Vince is like, you're going to watch the pay-per-views anyway, because look at us. We have a podcast where we have talk for 2 hours a week about how much WWE blows and sucks and everything else. And then what do? We spend at least one of those hours every month picking a WWE event. There's
sorry.
Nothing. No, I was just putting an exclamation, but there's nothing that WWE could benefit from in that agreement.
To Pooch's fantasy booking here, I don't see really a better scenario to do it in. I'm doubtful that that's the plan, but if there was ever going to be a good plan for doing something like that, I think Poot nailed it on the head. Hit the nail on the head. Nailed the head. He gave us some head.
Yeah, it did. With my blinds up.
That's the perfect time.
You Philistine.
You Philistine. Right here and now with Cody would be the perfect time to do that crossover, because I don't think there would be a bigger, at least for the smart marks, at least for the people that know what Cody has done, what AEW has done, what WWE has done with Cody. There wouldn't be a better person to do that with, that crossover type thing. Whether it be for long-term or just a short-term thing, Cody Rhodes would be the number one guy to do that with. Is that the plan for what they're going to do? I would say in reality, doubtful, very, very low. But if they did, I would be 100% here for it, because that would lead to some very, very interesting things. And for anybody, really, yeah, AEW does stand to gain more than WWE, but that's going to get the whole wrestling universe talking. Even the people that are just in their own little zeitgeist of maybe there are people that just watch NWA or AAA or New Japan, whatever the case. The entire wrestling universe would be talking at that point, and that would get everyone's eyes, even the very segregated audience. That would get their eyes to both AEW and WWE, because that would be a first time ever. WWE and WCW didn't even do that.
True.
I mean, the closest they came was the...
Yeah,
what's that?
WCW tried, and then WWE hit him with a lawsuit and was like, no, you can't claim that you're with us anymore.
But they did that unsolicited, though.
Right.
Well,
I mean, the closest thing they came was like the DX invasion with, what if WCW would have let their guys out of that door to go after DX, like that whole well, what if? And then WCW never did. They shut the door and they're like, nope, you guys stay in here. Don't worry about them. It's fine.
Right.
That's the closest it ever came, even with those two big companies. With
all this stuff, I'll go back to something that we've said before, and it's just kind of my general attitude now with WWE is, it's great to speculate, but at the end of the day, the juggernaut that has been staying the course for over 50 years in sports entertainment, blah, 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 blah. They're gonna stay the course. Don't get your hopes up. Don't get too excited, because otherwise you're just gonna get disappointed. So just take it at face value. I mean, I understand it's WrestleMania season, and it's easy to get excited, but just like we said before, every year we get our hearts broke. It's like having that old flame come back, and it's like, oh yeah, but we had some good times, and then you get your heart broken again, and then it burns when you pee, and it's no good for anyone.
See, that's Royal Rumble for me. Like, Royal Rumble is always like heartbreak season. WrestleMania is like rebound. Like, all right, now we're good. I was thinking about that, Ransom, when you were saying that. Like, that is the one thing I think WWE would gain, is that it is possible that doing that would create another boom period, another period in which everybody is on the uptick. AEW, WWE, interest in wrestling pops again, and I think that is a very smart way to do it. If Triple H was in charge, 100%, 100%, that's something that he would do. But if and I hate to be the piss in the weeds guy, but like Tom said, you got to take it as face value. If they were going to do something like that, I think the way to handle it would be have Cody come in at the Royal Rumble, and everybody would be like, "What the fuck's going on?" And then start that build up going into WrestleMania, like, "Hey, we're here. Get used to it." So that at WrestleMania is when you have your big fucking like kerfuffle. So we'll see what comes of it. We'll see what references they make, because AEW is not shy about making references to Vince McMahon's product. We'll see how they shoes on the other foot now.
Right.
Oh, look, before we do wrap this episode up, I just want to get this. I feel like this is my version of the Poots. What's the over under? Probably not going to happen type question. What is the over under that Cody is doing this all on his own? Like, it's not a collab between AEW and WWE. Cody's using this kind of as leverage. He's in very, very aggressive talks with WWE. He hasn't signed anything yet. He's making them think that he's very interested in signing whatever deal they want to hype things up. And then he's going to play that back on Tony Khan and say, hey, I just want to give you guys one last chance. I'm in talks with WWE. There's a lot of publicity about this. Look at it. It's all over the internet. But this is home, and I really don't want to leave here. Can we work out a little bit more? Maybe not to where Cody Rhodes wanted his pay to be in AEW, but maybe he's going to get a little bit more than what Tony Khan was initially offering him if Tony sees all this buzz about Cody going to the WWE. Think it's possible that he's playing this, or do you think it really is pretty much a foregone conclusion Cody will be back in the WWE?
It's a good looking question.
I think it's a foregone conclusion. I think he's going.
Yeah.
I do. I really think he's going. I think kind of like, if I may reference someone who is still in WWE, AJ Styles. Maybe Cody, now that he has a daughter, maybe he's thinking about the mileage on his body. Maybe he's thinking about not just the big fat check. Like, I'm talking a check that doesn't take its shirt off when it goes swimming. That's a big fat check. Like, aside from that, I think Cody might honestly be thinking about his future in general, because just making a transition from being an actual wrestler to being a personality, to hosting shows, to doing all those things. Like, it seems like with those other projects he has going on, he's trying to kind of build a little bit of a
nest egg.
A nest egg, or some credence to be able to do something else. So I think him going to WWE would be like the button on his career, because whether we like it or not, WWE is still the top of the mountain.
Well, and it very well could have been, with all this that we're talking about, like you just mentioned, that he's doing, he does the Go Big, the Go Big show or whatever, the fucking roads to the top, this and that. Maybe he was just getting stretched a little too thin too. Maybe this was a way to give him a break. Honestly, I can 100% identify with that. There's been plenty of times where I've said to myself, like, I'm stretching myself way too thin. Something's got to go. Or I just need a break. I just gotta take a step back, reassess everything, and and go from there. So maybe that's what this is. Maybe it's just a reset, just a quick little refresh for him, and then we'll see him back in old AEW in no time.
So, just to clarify, though, are you saying that WWE is going to be his break?
No. I'm saying,
or
no.
like
I'm
just
saying,
taking time off from wrestling altogether.
I think I'm saying taking time off from wrestling altogether, and maybe he's
okay. All right.
Maybe he's hyping it up, and like you say, like saying that he's in talks and stuff like that, and maybe he collaborated with Tony and put this out there and say, like, hey, we couldn't reach an agreement, this and that. Maybe there is some truth to it, maybe not. I don't know. But either way, maybe this is just a way for him to take a break and focus on, maybe instead of focusing on 5 different things, to focus on 2 or 3 for now, and then whenever he's got that stuff under control, or he feels like he can take on a little bit more again, then come back and do whatever.
Ransom.
What were you holy shitting, Beef?
My molars, they're getting longer.
I see what you did.
Poot.
Oh, we're going to quesadilla this. Thank you very much to our sponsors, Casual Gaming Dad and Gould Gaming, who carries all of Casual Gaming Dad's merch. We'll find out more about them in the next episode. Also want to thank Mr. Sean Tischler and his work with wrestling in the central Pennsylvania area. We also want to thank our very own Ransom and his channel, Frig Off Ransom. And you could frig off and go subscribe to his channel. And if you don't, well then, you're a Philistine. I was going to say charlatan, but that's what I called him. He called me a Philistine. It's a little more accurate. And, folks, we want to thank you all very much for coming out here, listening to the P3 podcast. I am Poot the Bard, baby, and that is Tiger Bomb Tom, a.k.a. Casual Gaming Dad. That is Beef the Legend, our encyclopedia, and our very own Madman Ransom. Have a wonderful Magoo. Listen to the next episode, dum-dums.